Wade Wilson had been trying, for months, to pretend that he was finally done with the chaos that once defined his life. He lived quietly in a shabby apartment, selling used cars and pretending that the world didn't need him anymore. The X-Men weren't calling, Vanessa was safe, and for the first time he believed that living a normal life might be possible. But normalcy never stayed with Wade for long. His days were painted with a thick layer of boredom, and every night he stared at his old Deadpool suit stuffed in a drawer like a piece of past trauma he never resolved. He believed that the universe had moved on without him, and secretly, he feared it was right. That illusion shattered when agents from the Time Variance Authority (TVA) suddenly burst into his routine. They didn't come politely. They arrested him, dragged him through the corridors of a collapsing timeline, and told him the news: his entire universe was dying. The world he came from, his friends, his memories, his messy history, was dissolving in temporal instability. But the TVA wasn't there to save his universe. They were there to recruit him for an impossible mission. At first, Deadpool made jokes, pretending not to care, but beneath his humor was a guilt he couldn't hide. The TVA needed someone unpredictable enough to fix a problem that even they couldn't control. And Wade, being Wade, accepted the mission not because he wanted to be a hero, but because he wanted to save what little he had left. The job required him to travel into fragmented realities, searching for one particular person, Wolverine. Not just any Wolverine, but a version broken and in hiding, one who had turned away from heroism. When Deadpool finally landed in Wolverine's timeline, the world there was worn out and bleak. The X-Men were gone, destroyed long ago. Wolverine wandered alone in a world that no longer needed him, carrying guilt that he could barely survive. When Wade found him sitting in a bar, drinking like he wanted time to forget him, he tried recruiting him with enthusiasm and jokes, but Wolverine wasn't buying it. Their first meeting ended in claws drawn, bullets fired, and an entire bar reduced to splinters. Deadpool tried reason, humor, bargains, and even guilt-tripping, but nothing worked. Wolverine wanted nothing to do with Wade, the TVA, or any heroics. He blamed himself for the fall of his own universe and believed he deserved to vanish with it. But soon, both were forced together when their timeline was attacked by a powerful entity, Cassandra Nova, a sinister telepath with a terrifying ability to manipulate minds and shred realities. She had allied with forces that sought to collapse multiple universes to build a single, controllable one. Her plan required eliminating certain variants, and both Deadpool and Wolverine were on her list. The two unwilling partners barely escaped with their lives. Wolverine, annoyed but understanding the gravity of Cassandra's threat, agreed, reluctantly, to join Wade. Their journey through broken timelines was chaotic, hilarious, and dangerous. In one ruined world, they fought off monstrous mutated versions of heroes who no longer resembled their original selves. In another timeline, they encountered variant X-Men who didn't survive long enough to understand why the two were there. Every jump left Deadpool and Wolverine closer to each other, though Wade's constant commentary often pushed Logan to the edge of sanity. Along the way, they found Paradox, a TVA engineer who believed that Cassandra Nova was manipulating the TVA from inside, slowly corrupting timelines and eliminating universes that could oppose her. Paradox revealed that Cassandra had escaped from a forgotten prison timeline and taken over the TVA's most dangerous weapon, the multiversal loom, an engine controlling how timelines branched. If Cassandra succeeded in gaining full control, she could rewrite the multiverse with herself as its ruler. Wolverine realized that his own timeline's collapse wasn't an accident. Cassandra had destroyed it deliberately to break him emotionally, knowing that a hopeless Wolverine was easier to eliminate. Wade saw, for the first time, the depth of Logan's pain, and for a brief moment he dropped his humor and spoke honestly, telling Wolverine that the universe still needed him, even if Logan didn't believe it. Their next mission brought them to a chaotic multiversal wasteland, a graveyard of broken universes where discarded heroes and villains struggled to survive. Here, they encountered variant versions of Deadpool, each more bizarre and unhinged than the last. A miniature Deadpool, a dog Deadpool, a samurai Deadpool, and even a muscle-bound Deadpool Prime. What started as a ridiculous reunion quickly turned into disaster as Cassandra Nova manipulated these variants into hunting down Wade and Wolverine. A massive battle erupted, filled with absurd humor and desperate stakes, ending only when Wolverine unleashed a berserker rage powerful enough to take down the corrupted variants. But each jump weakened their own timeline stability. Wade's body flickered like static at times, and Wolverine felt parts of his memory slipping. Paradox explained that if they didn't stop Cassandra soon, they would both dissolve with the collapsing timelines. Wade, usually using jokes to mask fear, finally admitted that he was terrified, not of dying, but of dying without doing something meaningful. Their final destination was the TVA itself, now twisted into Cassandra's fortress. Hallways that once shimmered with order were now warped like nightmares. Time loops malfunctioned, causing soldiers to fight themselves from different minutes. Cassandra waited at the heart of the TVA, sitting like a queen inside the multiversal loom chamber. Her psychic power filled the air, making even Wolverine's mind feel like it was splitting apart. The battle that followed was brutal. Wolverine charged with primal fury while Deadpool provided chaotic distraction, sacrificing himself repeatedly to open opportunities. Cassandra toyed with them at first, reading their moves before they made them, ripping into Wolverine's traumatic memories and hurling them back at him. She forced him to relive moments of failure, loss, and death. Wolverine faltered under the weight of it until Wade, beaten but refusing to quit, screamed at him to keep going, not for the universe but for himself. In a rare moment of vulnerability, Wolverine let Wade support him emotionally. He fought back against Cassandra's psychological grip, remembering that he was more than his failures. The two heroes combined strategy and madness, Logan using brute force while Wade disrupted Cassandra's focus with unpredictability. Paradox, from outside, disabled the psychic amplifiers while Deadpool delivered a series of explosive attacks that shattered the chamber's stability. Despite the intensity of the battle, Cassandra nearly won. At the last moment, she tried to rewrite Wolverine out of existence entirely. Wade, seeing Logan's body dissolving, threw himself between them, absorbing the full psychic blast. Cassandra lost control of the loom, and Wolverine, surviving by a thread, lunged forward and drove his claws into her, ending her reign of terror. But Wade collapsed, broken beyond healing. His body began fading like static. He had saved Wolverine, the TVA, and countless universes, but at the cost of his own existence. Wolverine, who had kept people at arm's length for years, knelt beside him and called him a hero, something Wade never thought he'd hear. Wade tried making a joke, but even he couldn't hide the emotion. Paradox struggled to stabilize the loom, and in a last-second gamble, he redirected the collapsing timelines into a new stable branch, a universe where both Wade and Logan could exist. Light engulfed the TVA chamber, and everything dissolved. Wade awakened in a new world, alive, fully formed, and slightly confused. Logan sat beside him, silently drinking, pretending that he didn't save Wade's life by insisting Paradox bring him into the new timeline. They found themselves in a world similar to the main MCU reality, one where the possibilities were endless. Wade immediately suggested that they join the Avengers, crash Tony Stark's mansion, or start a buddy cop franchise together. Wolverine growled, telling Wade to shut up, but a hint of a smirk betrayed the truth. He didn't entirely hate the idea. The film ended with Wade and Logan walking into their new world, bickering loudly, bruised but alive, and finally, though neither admitted it, grateful for each other. The multiverse was safe for now, and two unlikely partners had found purpose where they least expected it. The chaos wasn't over, not by a long shot, but as long as Deadpool and Wolverine were together, the universe was going to be loud, violent, and somehow better than before.